And welcome to another episode of the Shout at the Oval podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to be back, and I am back with Glentoran fullback Danny Amos. Danny, welcome to the podcast. Absolutely brilliant to have you on.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Like I said, hopefully chat about some stuff and
Well, I want to start with you where I start with all my guests, and that is way back at the very start, the beginning of your football career and your earliest memories growing up, not necessarily playing for your club that you go and sign for, but just starting off even at school.
Well, I started my football career like really early. Played grassroots level for a local team in Sheffield called Hillsborough Pumas, which my brother also played for as well, just a couple of years above, and he went right through the age groups of that. And yeah, I just started off there, and I got picked up by Sheffield United when I was a little bit younger. I think I was around 8 years of age, and then just stayed in the academy since then. Played a little bit of football in school, but nothing major. The school team wasn't up to boast about. But yeah, just basically stayed at Sheffield United from the age of 8 till 16. So a long time there, and obviously got released at the end of, I think it was, I can't remember the year, but yeah, when I was 15-16 year old, got released there when I left school, and then yeah, kick-started my career elsewhere.
Were you a Sheffield United fan growing up?
I'd say I was a little bit mixed. My family was more Sheffield Wednesday, and obviously playing for Sheffield United, I used to do the ball boy duties on the Saturday and stuff like that, which used to be fun, and obviously seen some great memories down at Bramall Lane and things like that, so that does take into consideration a little bit. But like I say, all my mates are Sheffield Wednesday fans, so I would say I'm more Sheffield Wednesday than Sheffield United, but I'm not really fussed, to be honest, either way, which is very weird, obviously coming from Sheffield when it's such a big footballing club, footballing industry.
But I suppose it's different when you're involved in football, because especially from such a young age, because then you get an affiliation for the club that you're playing with, I suppose. I
think that's what it were, yeah, just wanting to, obviously I would at Bramall Lane once every 2 weeks ball boying, so I was constantly there. I was there on FA Cup runs the yard, and I was there in obviously League One and stuff like that, and even lower levels and higher levels and stuff like that, so yeah, like I said, I just obviously just got interested in football through that way, watching it and stuff live for the first time and things like that, which was obviously interesting, and then grew a little bit fond of the club and obviously wanted to play for them and things like that, being there from such a young age, and obviously it never worked out that way, but like I said, I'm still happy with my career, how it's gone so far.
Well, you made a move to Doncaster, which isn't that far from where you live in Sheffield, and you're playing your youth football there. How did the move to Doncaster come about? Because I must have been quite disappointed at the time to get released from Sheffield United. Yeah,
well, it were so obviously I've left school and things like that, and I've got all not the pressure, but I've got all my mates thinking I'm going to get this and that at Sheffield United and things, and obviously it was the first time in my career that I'd actually been told no, so it hit me quite hard and obviously difficult, and I had to move to different clubs and trial at different clubs, which for me, obviously I've grew up from the age of 8 until 16 knowing the same people, me seeing people come in and come out the door and things like that, so we're only used to all the familiar faces from when I was 9 year old right through till I was 16, and then basically just went on trial at Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham and Chesterfield, all the local ones, and didn't get anything there because we got told about the scholarships a little bit later than other clubs, so they'd already given theirs out and things like that, other than Doncaster. And I remember being on the motorway with my mum, and she was taking me for one of the training sessions, and I was saying this is the last chance, like if not then I'm going to have to start going to college and thinking about what I'm going to do, obviously prior to leaving school and things like that, and it's just, it worked wonders. I got on well with all the lads when I was there, and my mum got on well, obviously being Irish and stuff, she got on well with everybody else there and things like that, so yeah, it fitted wonderfully, and then like I say, it just went from there.
Were you glad to sort of get a club so close to home so you could live at home without having to move away at such a young age? You hear so many players maybe moving away, and it might have impact their football and impact how they settle in. Yeah, like I say, I were always lucky in that sense up until now. Like obviously moving away from home for the first time this year, which is obviously difficult, but I'm sure we'll speak about that. And like I say, I've always felt quite lucky in my career in that sense, obviously being at Sheffield United, which is round the corner, only 25 minutes away, and then I had a little period where I was at
on loan at Hartlepool, which I thought I might have to stay over. But I was only 17 at the time, and I was probably young and naive to think that I should have stayed over and things like that with the lads. But I had to get the train. I was getting the train every morning. My mum would take me to the train station, meeting the lads, and cold mornings and stuff like that. And like that was as far as it got. And then obviously being at Doncaster for 4 or 5 years were pretty ideal. And then obviously got the move to Grimsby as well.
Well, you made your Doncaster debut at 16 years of age in the AFL Cup. What did that feel like? What do you remember when you got the nod? I think you came on as a substitute.
Yeah, it was Mansfield. I think we were drawing 0-0 in the game, and I come on around the 65th, 70th minute, something like that, and we ended up winning 2-0. And yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. Obviously I was so young, as I think I'm in like the bottom, I think the top 10 youngest players or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what age it is, but I know I'm one of the youngest players to play for Doncaster Rovers in a professional game. So yeah, like I say, I think that were like a real big positive highlight of my career, and obviously it kick-started from then. And like I say, it was an unbelievable experience, an unbelievable feeling, and everything else from then is led from that moment.
And signing your first pro contract then with Doncaster in 2017, was it, or you were 17, were you?
Yeah, I got my. I was still actually in my scholarship. Obviously, you do 2 years as a scholarship, and I got it. I think it was 6-7 months early. But like what was good at Doncaster in terms of being at Sheffield United was obviously because I knew a few of the lads at Sheffield, and it were because they were doing really well at the time or whatever it had been. They weren't getting much chance to play with the first team, whereas Darren Ferguson, the manager at the time, he was all inclusive. So like on a Thursday and a Friday, we'd play against the first team and stuff like that, like doing shape and stuff ready for them for a Saturday, which obviously you get a little 15-20 minutes. That's your chance to impress the first team manager. And if you did well in training, the week after you'd be training with the first team, and just everything like that was unbelievable for me. And like I say, it was probably the best thing that possibly could have happened to me in terms of being in and around men's game and things like that, and matured quite quickly and got on with all the first team members as well, which were really good from obviously such a young age.
You had a short loan spell when you were quite young at Buxton, was it?
Yeah.
And that was only a month, but that was probably your first taste of playing men's football weekend.
Yeah, it were quite a weird spell. That I think I was there for. I think it might have been 2 months. I think it were 2 different managers.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I didn't actually win a game.
Oh.
I don't think I actually won a game. I scored like the first professional goal in a way with my right foot, and I remember that we'd been in a local derby and we ended up losing the game 3-2. And then since that, I don't think I actually won a game for that club. And the club at the time obviously is doing really well now, but the club at the time wasn't doing great, so it was just an experience for me, personal experience and stuff like that. And like I say, I don't think I won a game, but all the lads in that were brilliant. And like I say, being in that first team environment of men's football, like I say, it was a great experience.
And it means a lot, because the thing is, in men's football compared to youth football, is it actually means something, because there's fans and there's pressure, there's money involved. Yeah. So it's a good learning curve for you. Yeah,
100%. I mean, you see it like over in England. There's a Checker Trade Trophy. It's called the Papa John's. And you see like all the Man City, Chelsea, West Ham, all them teams coming down, and I think that's what they're trying to do that for, in terms of them getting that for that first team football experience, obviously being big clubs and stuff like that. And you can see how much difference it is, because they play 23s football where it's pass slow on the ball, this and that. But in any other game of football, which is in a men's industry, it's all heading, tackling, 50-50. It's like you don't really get much of that, obviously being in the 23 setup and stuff like that. So obviously that helped me out a lot.
You made your League One debut in 2018, is that right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It could be a date, yeah.
Must have been a bit of a baptism of fire. League One's a tough league. I used to actually go and watch Leyton Orient a lot when I lived in London, and it's there's a lot of tough, physical, big players in it. So for a young player to cut his teeth at that level, you must have enjoyed it, but it must have been a really good learning curve.
No, definitely, yeah. I think I can't remember the game. I don't know if it was Wigan. I'm not sure if you've got it there.
Oldham.
Oh yes, it was at Oldham away, yeah. Oldham away, yeah. And then I think it was Wigan the one after, I think. But no, yeah, that were, like I said, such a young age. Obviously, the fans and stuff like that being a good atmosphere. Obviously Doncaster being in League One, which is obviously good for a club of that size and things like that. And like I say, it was just an unreal experience for me, and obviously playing at that level gave me confidence, especially to play again the week after. And I knew the manager liked me and things like that. And obviously I just didn't get the break, because I think the year after, no, the summer after I'd made my League One appearance, I think the manager left. So it kind of set me back a little bit to square one again, because obviously the previous manager's seen what I'd done and things like that. So it kind of set me back again, and I just had to reset and go again. And yeah, like I say, it was an unbelievable experience, and one that's obviously put me in good stead for where I am now.
But you won then you got a few appearances in the team, and I think you won the Young Player of the Year award that year. That must have felt pretty special.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like I said, obviously being such a young lad, it's what you want. Obviously being around the first team, going up, collecting the award in front of all the first team and stuff like that, it does make you feel kind of good. It just gives you like a good spring in your step and things like that. And you want to play as many games as you can and impress whenever you can, whether that be in training or games in front of the fans or in front of the manager or whatever it'd be. And you just want to showcase what your talent's all about. And I thought I did that for a number of years, and then obviously I left, and obviously things got better for me as well. But yeah, like I say, all a great experience. I have a lot of love for the club, and obviously I know so many people who are still there and things like that, and it was nice to go back and see them a couple of years later and see some old faces and stuff like that, which are all obviously wishing me well and things, which were really good.
Grant McCallum was a manager for a period of time when you were there, and he's a name that we'll whisper in these parts because he's actually a big Linfield fan.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
right.
he played for them very briefly before he went into management, and then he cut his career short to go into management.
Right, okay.
But what was he like? Because he's had a few spells now at Doncaster, and he's had good times and bad times.
Yeah, really good. I think Grant McCann gave me another contract, give me an extension, so I think he liked me. And obviously at the time we were pushing for promotion and things like that. We had a great team around us, and Grant and Cliff Bryn, he was the assistant, and they were both really good with me. Obviously played me a few times and things like that, and like I say, it was just all a great learning experience for me. And obviously a good manager, a good tactical manager, and like I say, went and done well with Hull. I think a couple of years later Peterborough as well. So and obviously now he's back high flying in League Two. Hopefully they get promoted and get back to where they belong.
You went to Port Vale in 2021, I believe, and it was you were there initially for 6 months, but then you ended up staying. Is that right? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So what it was is I knew the assistant manager Andy Crosby from when I was at Northern Ireland 21s. Obviously I got released from Doncaster. I think that was the year after the COVID. I think it was
2021.
I think it was. Yeah. So I got released from there, and I ended up going on trial through knowing him and impressing as well. I think I was there 6 weeks on trial, which obviously is a long time. And obviously I signed for the club, train and stuff like that. I didn't play many games for Port Vale, which is credit to them because they were doing so well. Obviously that year they went and got promoted, and I played a few of the cup games and stuff like that. But other than that, obviously I didn't play. But being in around the first team environment and stuff like that were really good. But obviously prior to that, my Port Vale move was my first year out of contract, so I weren't sure what to expect. I thought, I'll get a club easily and stuff like that, and next thing you know, I'm struggling for a club, and I'm on trial for 6 weeks trying to impress every single day and stuff like that, which was obviously tough mentally, but as I got there in the end, and I had a decent enough 5-6 months, and then yeah.
And then your next club was the club that you played the most games for to date, and that was Grimsby. And you had a really good time overall at Grimsby. So how did the move to Grimsby come about?
So the Grimsby move were actually through the Port Vale manager. Darryl Clark and Paul Hurst were close enough and knew each other and stuff like that. But I remember I was so I got released from Grimsby at Port Vale in January. On January the 1st it was, and I think that was when COVID spiked back up again around Christmas time, so there were a few games cancelled, and I was trying to obviously train every day and stuff like that, trying to earn that contract. Turned around and got released, and then I think a week later on I went to York on trial, which they was in the Conference North, so the one below Grimsby was at the time. I went there on trial, and they offered me a contract, and obviously it weren't financially great and stuff like that. So, but obviously I had no other choice at that time, and I was about to sign it on the Saturday. And then luckily the day after, the Grimsby town manager Paul Hurst texted me and gave me a straight up contract, and I was like, on the phone to my agent, listen, we're signing this. I went and signed it on Thursday, that week on Thursday, and made my debut on the Saturday, and since that it's been probably the best moments of my life. I've got the best games under my belt under my life, and yeah, like I said, I got some amazing memories there.
Well, I'm sure that the highlight of your career so far was that playoff final at the London Stadium. It's an absolutely incredible stadium. It's an incredible place to win a game, and especially in that final. Talk to me about that.
It were a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, initially obviously for 5 months I think I signed a 6-month contract. So my initial thing was, right, just impressed, do well, get as many games as you can. And hopefully you'll secure something for next year. I think we were sitting 11th or 10th in the league, so when I first come to the club it weren't exactly what I'd envisioned. Like, I just wanted to win and see what had happened, obviously with 5 months remaining in the season, and little did we know we started picking up a few points and teams around us started dropping off, and then we end up in the playoffs and it's like, oh my God, we can actually go and get promoted here. Like, it didn't really seem real at the time, but then we had a great squad, good manager and assistant, and good staff around the place, which I think I only lost like 3 or 4 games or something like that, and won God knows how many, and drew a couple, which obviously just tells you a lot about the camp. What we had a great little car, school members, all from Sheffield, which were perfect, so I weren't doing the journeys on my own and stuff like that. I had 5 other lads, and like I say, it were brilliant. And then obviously beat Wrexham 5-4, beat Notts County 2-1 I think it was, and then we went and beat Wrexham in 5-4 in the last minute, and then went on to beat Solihull, which was just, to top it off, the best day ever so far. Yeah, unbelievable.
Was this Wrexham pre or post money? Was the investment there yet?
No, it just come in. So
right.
they'd be filming a documentary.
Right.
So they were high flying, trying to chase Stockport down. I think they were, and Stockport managed to pip them. I think it was a week or two before. And we secured our playoff spot, and we knew we'd face them if we beat Notts County, so we were like, that were our aim, just take it game by game. And then we obviously got to Wrexham, expecting an unbelievable game, in a sense, like a tough game, and they got the penalty early doors, and I just thought, it's Wrexham, it's Ryan Reynolds, it's Netflix, this is just written for them. And then next minute we go and score straight after, and I thought, hey, we've got a chance here. And then just literally, I think the third goal went in that game, and I don't even think we celebrated, just because we knew they were going to get another chance, and it was like, right, we've just got to switch on again and just go from here. And the next minute it's extra time, and we go and score the winner 5-4, and just seeing all their fans, and obviously the Netflix documentary, it just kind of, it was a bit extra sweet for us because of that reason. And like I say, our fans were crazy on the day, and they deserved everything we give them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually admittedly a bit of a sucker for that documentary. I think it's class.
Yeah.
And it really got me into the National League, strangely, and it made me realise that the National League is extremely difficult to get out of, because there's only one automatic.
Spot, yeah, there's only one spot. I think they were going to change it. I'm not sure if this is true. I heard a rumour that they were going to change it. I'm not saying if Wrexham didn't go up, but because obviously Wrexham, I think, failed to. I don't know if they failed to go up. I don't know if they failed to go up again. I'm not 100% sure.
I think they did. I think they failed twice, and then the third time they went up.
They went up. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
When they had Ben Foster.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's it. Yeah, and obviously it was just like for them, it was like a big thing to get out of the league. That's what they were trying to do, and it were everyone beat Wrexham sort of thing. And obviously we went and done that, but yeah, the league's pretty tough. The quality's a lot better. Obviously, there's a bit more investment in it,
yeah.
So they're attracting a lot of players now from League 2, even League 1 level. Like the Wrexham players are all League 2, League 1 level minimum. So it were quite tough. And like I said, there's a big difference from now than it was 5 years ago and all that.
Dan was saying, had Dan Ulay on the podcast, and obviously he played in that league, and he said there's so much money floating about, you wouldn't believe some of the wages being paid.
It's I were hearing £2,000 a week, £3,000 a week. I were hearing all sorts of different money. Like I think there were lads turning down contracts in League 1 to come to Wrexham and things like that, and obviously it's just escalated from there. Obviously to try and compete, it's like, because there's only one spot, you try and compete and try and match what Wrexham did in a sense. And I'm not sure who's quite running away with it at the minute. I think York, my old team, are doing really well, and Barnet as well. Forest Green, I think there's a few contenders this year which will make it a lot more interesting.
Well, you played, so I've got down here, you played 31 times for Grimsby in 2022, 23, and then 14 in 23, 24. But then you went on loan to York in the January of that year. So was it a case of you wanted to go on loan, or what?
Well, it were quite strange actually, as in like I were playing. So obviously we had the FA Cup run the year before, which were unbelievable again, and obviously high flying, doing well and stuff like that. And I realised I had a year left on my contract, so I wanted to play every game as much as I can. And obviously I think the manager at the time got the sack, and as I were playing and stuff like that, and the new manager come in, I picked up a little injury and I didn't really get a chance to showcase what I'm about and stuff like that. And obviously I wanted to go out on loan and impress, in case obviously the manager at Grimsby didn't give me another contract. So I wanted to put myself in good stead for when summer does come around, instead of just biding my time out at a club that I weren't going to play for, or the manager didn't have plans for me. And like I said, I wanted to go and play as many games as I can to put myself in a shop window, and it was a good experience at York as well.
But you mentioned the FA Cup there. We should talk about that, because you scored a few weeks ago in the Cup, and you scored in that Cup as well.
That was actually my first professional goal, yeah. Some people say it were a cross, some people say it were a shot, I'll say it were a shot, but people don't believe me. But yeah, a very rare occasion, and yeah, it's not a great goal ratio. I think it's 2 every 2 years or something like that, 3 years or something, but hopefully I'll chip in with a few more.
And that was against Luton, and they obviously went on to do absolutely remarkable things last season. Not doing as well this season, but they did great last season. So it must have been amazing to see you scored and went through in the FA Cup.
Yeah, like I said, it was an unbelievable experience. I think I didn't play in the first, because it was like the second leg or something like that. Not the leg, but the replay is what you call it. Yeah, and I didn't play in the first one, and the lads were telling me how good it were and stuff like that, and all that things. And obviously we ended up beating 3-0, and we didn't really expect it, but we absolutely battered them. And I think they had one eye on getting promoted, so it was like half got to 3-0, and we were like, right, just count the clock down here, get to 75th minute, and they didn't really try anything. They didn't want to get injured or out like that, ready for their last push of the season sort of thing. And went on and played Southampton, beat Southampton away from home 2-1, and then had a fun day out at Brighton, got beat 5-0, but the experience was brilliant.
So let's talk internationals, because you have represented, despite the very northern Sheffield accent that we may hear, you have represented Northern Ireland at an international level. That's obviously because your mum comes from Belfast.
She does, yeah.
So when you got the call up to Northern Ireland under 21s, was it a surprise to you, or were you how did you feel about it?
No, it was unbelievable. Like I said, my family were all made up for me. I was absolutely delighted. I didn't realise how big, like, the actual getting the call up was. Like, it's a big step, especially when you're 21 and younger. And so obviously I played at the 19s level, which were good, and stuff like that, which obviously started me off. But obviously I went a couple of years without playing, and then get called up for the 21s, which were an unbelievable feeling. And like I say, it was just a great experience, obviously meeting new lads and stuff like that. Obviously, because I'd been at Doncaster for 4 years at the time, I was like, well, this is new to me, meeting new lads and being in a new environment and things. And it was all a great experience, and everything's helped me, what's made me get to where I am now.
Was Ian Barraclough the manager when he first called you up?
Yeah, Ian Barraclough was the manager then. I don't think I played under Ian though, because I was like young. I think I was 19 or 20 or something along them lines. And then I think he went on to take the first team job, and then Andy Crosby took over from then. And I knew Andy Crosby, and I knew the assistant from my time at Doncaster, John Schofield, which I've got a lot of respect for. And like I say, it were pretty much written in the stars for me in terms of playing, doing well and things like that. And it were an unbelievable experience for me, and a privilege for my family as well.
And getting to travel and sort of play against players that are from all over the world, from all clubs all over the world as well, it just must be absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was. Like, well, we went up in Ukraine, played on just a sheer pitch of snow and things like that, Orange Bowl, snow, it was freezing cold, couldn't feel my toes, anything like that. And yeah, like I said, the experience was unbelievable, being in and around the lads and stuff like that, winning a few games as well, which is always nice, and obviously getting good results against the likes of Ukraine at home and things like that. And
yeah, like I say, we had a great team. I think a lot of that team now are also playing for the first team, which is obviously great to see, and it's what I want to aspire to. But they're all doing really well, and they've all kicked on their careers. And like I say, it's obviously brilliant what Ian Barraclough and Andy Crosby did.
And I was watching it come up in my Facebook memories not that long ago, actually, that Paul O'Neill, he was playing for Glentoran at the time, and he scored a goal for Northern Ireland, and in the commentary you got the assist. It was it must have been the Ballymena Showgrounds in the game. I don't know if you remember that, but you were definitely mentioned. I think it was Paul O'Neill that scored it.
Oh yeah, I think that might have been Finland. I think it was Finland. I'm not sure if I don't know if we won that game 3-2 or lost it. Actually, I can't remember. But yeah, Paul O'Neill obviously played against him the other day and stuff like that, and obviously Cricky Gallagher as well. And like I say, I've played with a few of the lads who I've seen over here, and it's obviously it's nice to contribute to goals and assists for international level. And like I say, it was just a brilliant experience for me, and yeah, it's been good.
And were you able to have conversations with any players then when the move to sort of Glentoran was coming up and say, what's this all?
I spoke to Bobby Burns. Obviously, he was a good mate of mine. I were at 19s and 21s level with him, and obviously we were both. I think he was playing left centre mid at the time and sometimes left wing back. So we had like a little bit of a rivalry, but it was always a close knit one. And I've got a lot of respect for Bobby. I really like him as a lad. He's a great lad. All the lads at Glentoran speak highly of him and things like that. So yeah, I spoke to Bobby about it, and yeah, just a case of coming over here and just doing like as well as I can for the club. Obviously, with my family being fans of the Glens as well, which is obviously nice to get the criticism from them as well as the other fans. But yeah, it's obviously a massive club. I know all the history about it and stuff like that, which is really good. And obviously, it needs to get back to winning ways really.
We'll talk about the move to Glentoran. So it came deadline day, really. Even though you're out of contract, you could actually sign any time, but you came in on deadline day. But how did the move come about, and how did the Declan find out about you, I suppose?
Well, I was swapping agents at the time. My old agent, my contract ran out, so I was speaking to a new agent, and he ended up coming to me with this opportunity. And I had another offer from somewhere in England, which I was torn with. But when my agent rang me and said, "Listen, I've got a great opportunity for you. How about this? Blah blah blah." And then obviously it went from there. And then it went quiet for a couple of weeks. I think they were talking about trying to agree, obviously, with me moving over and stuff like that, and trying to sort out the house and things like that and whatnot. And then next minute I were at Alton Towers with my girlfriend and her sister and her boyfriend, and we were out for her birthday, like just going through the rides and stuff like that. And next minute I get a phone call saying, "Listen, Glentoran want you. Can you come over tomorrow?" I'm like, "No, can you come over tonight?" So I'm like, "Well, I can't here because I'm literally
I'm on a ride here.
I'm literally about to get on Oblivion, like this crazy ride." And next minute I'm obviously speak to the missus, trying to like obviously speak to her about it without telling her sister and stuff like that. And things were just happening really quick, and then a couple of hours passed by, and then we obviously agreed on it between me and her, and then told my mum and my family and stuff. And then next minute I flew over in the morning and I'm training, and then obviously my international clearance didn't come through for that weekend.
That's
but right. Which we're obviously gutted about. I was supposed to play Cliftonville and didn't come through, but managed to get home after that game, get more of my stuff, like all my other football boots and clothing and things like that. And then I was living in a hotel for a week, and then played my first game, and then obviously since that I've been here, and it's been brilliant.
I was a bit of a look behind the curtain, so I came down to take some photos of your arrival, and when I was there, when you found out that your international clearance hadn't came through, and you were gutted.
Well, this was it. Obviously, when I was at Alton Towers, I had Paddy ringing me, I think, like saying, "Listen, we need it done now because we want to get this international clearance through. We need it as quick as we possibly can." And I'm trying to text all the other clubs for all that other information and stuff, what Glentoran will need to sign and to get it through for the Irish FA and stuff like that. And obviously you couldn't pick a worse time, stood outside the theme park and stuff like that. So no, it was quite funny. Obviously it's a story, and like I say, we're all a bit of a rush, but we managed to get there in the end, and we've not looked back since.
Was there any hesitation about coming over to Northern Ireland, a completely new country? You've never lived away from the north of England before.
Yeah, that was the only word. Obviously, I knew when I spoke to my mum. My mum said, "Listen, they're a big club. All your family supports them. My brother knows a lot about football. My granddad as well, and they're obviously the ones who got me into it at the time and when I was younger. And they've always been the supportive ones and stuff like that. And obviously, my girlfriend was umming and ahhing, but at the same time, she went, "Listen, you got to do what you got to do." And I was like, "Listen, I want to go over, play for the Glens, play for my family and stuff like that." And obviously, it's been an unbelievable experience for me so far. And like I say, I am enjoying it 2 months down the line. I'm obviously enjoying it, doing well enough, and personally doing well enough. And obviously, I'd like to see this club get a bit more silverware and things like that, which is what my aim is.
I mean, doing well enough is an understatement, because you've really taken to it like a duck to water. You've settled in absolutely immediately. For someone who's came over from England, it can sometimes be a massive upheaval, and players can take a while to settle. It can be difficult.
Yeah.
But you went in, and I mean, Johnny Russell was unlucky. He went away with the under-21s,
Yeah.
and then you took his place, and you've not been dislodged. He's obviously out at the minute, but you haven't been dislodged from the team, which is no mean feat, because he was our player of the year last year. But you've went in and you've really made an impression, and it must be really
I mean, I
pleasing.
think that's just all credit to the lads, and obviously credit to Johnny as well, because obviously I've come in speaking to everybody, and someone in that dressing room, I'm trying to take their place, so it's quite hard. I've been there, I've been in that situation before, and it can be quite, like, you're always wondering, oh, is he a left back, is he left footed, is he this and that, and everyone's been there. And obviously you don't want to go and see a left back coming in if you are a left back, same for a striker and right midfielder, because you want to do the job yourself. But Johnny's one of the best lads in there, and he's been nothing but class for me from the moment I come in, and I can say the same about every single one of the lads, and they've made it so easy for me, which has made me enjoy it even more. And like I said, they've all been brilliant, the staff and everyone. It's been different class. It's like a breath of fresh air compared to clubs in England, what I've heard stories about and things like that. And like I say, I was just coming over here, I was a little bit anxious in terms of obviously what the standards would be like and stuff like that, and the fans and just the players, and just in general, obviously being a close knitted group and things like that. And like I said, they've welcomed me open arms, and yeah, like I said, I've not really looked back since, and it's been a roller coaster so far. And it's been good.
And do you prefer playing the out and out left back role, or do you like the left wing back sort of position of getting further up the pitch?
I play a little bit above. I've played both in my time. It's just I like being told what to do, in a sense. Like, I like just knowing where I'm going to be. Obviously the manager's decision and stuff like that, I'll play whenever. If he wants to put me in net, I'll say put me in net, no more than I'll just play. But like I say, I want to get as many games as I possibly can, whether that'll be at left wing back, left back. I'm not really fussed. Obviously we've been obviously as a back four in recent weeks. When I first came in, we was a back five and stuff like that, and that was a little bit new to me. Obviously I know what the gaffer demands in terms of up and down and this and that, and I didn't play prior to I think it was the Welders in the Cup for I think it was 3 months, and then go in, do 90 minutes and cover X amount of kilometres and stuff like that, and next minute I feel fit and stuff like that. So it's just a case of playing wherever the gaffer wants to put me, but obviously as long as I know what I'm doing and what I can do to help the team out, and then I'm hopefully put myself in the best stead for whenever the game comes up.
The game against Linfield, that was a game where you probably got a proper taste of what it's like to play for Glentoran. A crazy game, two completely contrasting 45 minutes, excellent atmosphere. You must have been like, well, this is it, this is what it's like, I'm here. Yeah,
well, obviously prior to me moving over here, I knew how big Glens and Linfield, obviously I've grew up with it with my auntie and uncle and stuff like that, and my two cousins and things, and I know how big it is. Obviously all my family being Glens fans, they've all been messaging me and stuff like that, saying how big it is and stuff, and the players were so excited for it. And I say it's a big one, it's noise there, you'll hear the Blues chant, you'll hear the Glens chant, you'll hear different spells in the game and stuff, and just obviously I've played in front of big crowds before and noisy crowds before, but that night especially goes up there with one of my top 5 in my career, just because of how special it were to play in the first derby and to win in the manner that we did, and to get 2 assists, and just to be proud after the game, and just that feeling after the game was like no other. And like I said, we're playing a few more times, and hopefully we can just basically keep beating them. That's our aim, and that's what the fans want, and that's what we look forward to. And like I said, it's obviously unbelievable. It's a great atmosphere, and it's brilliant. It's a brilliant fixture to be involved in.
Have you heard much about the Boxing Day derby?
Yeah, I've heard that's the best game of the season. Yeah, I've heard. I can't wait for that.
Can't wait. It's going to be difficult, obviously, for you because it's Christmas and you're going to be spending Christmas probably for the first time in your life away from home.
Yeah.
But the Boxing Day derby is a traditional derby where the Glens play Enfield every season, year about, home and away. It'll sell out in the first few hours of it going on sale, and it's just it can make or break your Christmas.
Yeah, I can imagine that. You can't really enjoy Christmas now when you've got the Boxing Day thing next year. You know, obviously eating turkey dinners and stuff like that when you're going to be chasing a few of the Blues lads and stuff, and obviously you want it to go and win, so you want to be in the best shape possible. But like I said, we've got to be ready for it. I'm sure the lads will tell me even more about it when playing a couple of times beforehand and stuff like that. And like I say, it's one of the biggest games obviously in Irish football, probably is the biggest game in Irish football, obviously from a selfish point of view. But yeah, I can't wait for that one, and hopefully we'll win so it doesn't ruin my Christmas.
Well, it's been a strange season so far, because we've played well in plenty of games. I feel I quite like the way that we do play, try to play on the front foot. I love it when we press teams, and I think that's when we're at our best. I think Singo in particular pressing teams has just been like something I've never seen. You know, I didn't know he had it in his locker, to be honest with you. He's just non-stop, and yet we're struggling up the top end of the pitch to get goals, and that's leading to our downfall, because when we're dominant in games we're not finishing teams off, and that must be very frustrating for you as well as a player. It
is like, obviously me being a left back, it's ironic to say that left backs don't really score many goals, but end of the day I feel vulnerable to that as well. I'm on set pieces. I know my deliveries on Saturday probably weren't as good as they have been in recent games, so I'll take obviously criticism for that. I'll work on them for ready for next week and stuff like that. But it's so frustrating, because like I know I was saying to the manager this morning, like I've played 13 games now, and in every single game we've been the better team, which is, results don't show that, but it's so frustrating, because I know if we turn up and if we play anywhere near to our best, we will run away with teams, and we probably will get up the league, and next thing you know it's counting down to March, and you're looking at, and the split comes and you're like, oh well, it's some good form. And like I said, we just can't let bad results deflate our season, because that's obviously not what we're aiming to do. We want to bring silverware back to this club, and it's just a case of when you lose how you respond, and whatever it is. Obviously Decky's trying to implement his style of press and stuff like that, and what we want to do and what we want to achieve. And obviously you can't press a game of football for 90 minutes, but it's the manner in which Singo does and Cammy Palmer did against, and Jay Donnelly and all the attacking lads, because that's where it starts, and then just gives that fans the oomph and everything like that. And obviously that's what we're aiming towards now, and I think that's when we are at our best, when we are front foot, energetic and we're pressing. So I think you'll probably see a lot more of that, and hopefully the results just change and something just ticks, because like I said, the quality in the team's there. It's just we've just not had that little bit of, I don't want to say luck, but you create your own luck, but it's like that little bit of snapping sharp edge, which hopefully will come.
It's one of those things, when a striker starts scoring goals, they can get on a proper run, and then the rest, because everything else is working out really well. We're fair enough, we've conceded the odd sloppy goal, but it's not a regular lapse of concentration at the back. You know, it's like I felt against the Korean, for example, Moko went off injured, and that really just upset our rhythm then. Because a defensive substitution is not what you want anywhere in the pitch. You just don't want the
especially when like I said, when you aren't conceded, you don't really need to change anything. You know, I think that's a lot of managers in every division, in every country probably think that same way. Obviously Moko going down, getting injured and stuff like that obviously had to disrupt it, but like I say, it's tough. Obviously we knew that they'd have a spell. It's just obviously trying to see that spell out, and we didn't do that, but hopefully we'll learn from it. And like I said, I thought we were set up right for Larne, and I thought we dominated the game for a good 80 minutes near enough, and they just had a little spell in the first half and a spell in the second half, and then we lose our heads. Obviously the tackle comes in and the referee don't have control of the game, which I don't think, and like I said, from there it just went. And like I say, it's hard because you are deflated when a 2-0, when they score 2 goals past, when you've been the better side. It's like,
how'd that happen?
We go again, do you know what I mean? But like I say, we can only keep working on the training pitch, and hopefully we can give the fans something to cheer about in the month of November.
Well, we're not like miles away from it. Like I'm saying, you get a few points, you're up to second in the league, and you mentioned the split there, and that's obviously something you've never experienced before. It must be quite unusual for you, but it's, you know, if you're in the mix at the split, it can be the most intense games of the season. That really can.
No, 100%. Like I said, we want to be in the best possible way for when that comes around. Like we want to, whether it'll be a form, whether it'll be whatever, but we just want to be our strikers, I'm sure, want to be on 10 plus goals for when that happens. I want to be on 10 plus assists. We want to be on 10 plus clean sheets at least, and we want to obviously have like little foundations we can build from and stuff like that, which the manager and Paddy's and Tim are all trying to emphasise on us. But we know that every game is not going to define our season, but if you can put a run together on the Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, get 9 points, you look at the table after that weekend in 6 days and you're thinking, well, we can go in this league, we can beat anybody in this league, and I'm comfortable that we can do that on our day. But it's just hopefully the luck changes and we start just ticking a little bit more, and like I said, when we go and beat the team 3-4-5-0, whatever it is, I think that'll be the kickstart to our season.
You've obviously settled in quite well, and the cohesion amongst the players seems to be really quite good. When I've been down at Deauville, everyone seems to be getting on very well, and I spoke to Danny Amos about this fine system that's in place, and then this wheel, and it's just coincidental that in the build up to this podcast, once again the wheel has made it on the Fudzer's story.
Yeah, he loves it. Every Friday or Thursday, every Friday game, he's always there. Speaker on, he's the fine man. He watches, honestly, like a hawk. Honestly, he's watching everything. He don't let anything slip by him. If he has a day off, if he don't come in for it, everyone's like, hey, it's free, no fads and no fines, this and that. But he somehow still manages to find out, and like I say, it all gets noted down. And I think we're in a month of now where it's leading up to our Christmas do, so it's double bubble. So everything's double. This is double. That match day double. So it's times 4, and the lads are panicking and stuff like that. Lads are coming in maybe 5 minutes earlier than they used to and stuff like that. Just little things like that. You can see it ringing around the changing room, but there's a lot more grasses as well, little bits of sabotage and stuff, which is always fun to see. But like I say, it's all good crack, and it all goes to a good cause, and it just keeps that togetherness at the same time, and obviously not being sloppy and stuff like that off the training pitch, just to make sure you are preparing right and stuff like that. But in the same time, it keeps that togetherness and stuff, and like I say, it keeps everyone hungry and like I say, together, and just nice. Yeah.
Harry Murphy got absolutely stitched up.
Partly me to blame for that. Me and Millser. He left his plate, and he left his plate, his knife, his fork, and a cup, and it's £5 per item. And he's ended up, obviously, I've ended up cleaning his plate. He's taking it to court saying he didn't, and he's there admitting it to me but lying to everyone else and stuff like that. And it's all like a big word of mouth, and he thought he was going to get away with it, and he's ended up spinning the wheel and landed on treble. So yeah, and then obviously got a laugh from the lads, and then like I said, I don't think he were best pleased, but we were all buzzing because it's all going to a good cause.
Well, we're looking now at there's so many players in the Glens that this is their first year at the club and they're on 1-year deals, and you're obviously one of those players, and we're looking at the future. What are your plans for the future? You've said you're really enjoying it at Glentoran. So many people have came into this league and they've made it their home. And Fish has just bought a house here, and there's multiple players that got throughout the league, and they really like it. Is this something you see for yourself long term? Is remaining here, or is your ambition always to go back home?
My ambition is just to play at the highest level I possibly can, whether that'll be here, England, somewhere in Europe, wherever it'd be. I just want to play, obviously earn as much money as I can for my family. That's my ideal scenario. Whether that'll be at the Glens, whether that'll be somewhere else, who knows. But I just take every game as it comes, and like I said, I just got to focus on myself. I don't like looking too far into the future because you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what's right around the corner. So I just take every game as it comes, and right now my full focus is with the Glens and bringing some silverware back to this club at come the end of May. And like I said, I just want to do as well as I can for me and for myself personally, and for my family as well, and just see what happens after that. Pretty much that's how I roll every year.
Well, it's an absolutely brilliant place to play your football, especially when things are going good. I've said this to so many people on this podcast that there's nowhere like Glentoran to win a trophy. You're in a supporters club now. There's several of these supporters clubs dotted through East Belfast.
Yeah.
The whole place just goes absolutely boogaloo if we win major silverware.
Even just being around the changing room with the lads, like knowing how close we are and how much of a laugh we have. Like, yeah, we've come into training on a couple of defeats, but we have to just go again, and I think that's what we're really good at, like not letting it deflect our week, and then we're obviously not preparing right for the game on Saturday. We're always in a good mental headspace, which is credit to us, credit to the staff as well. And like I say, if we can get that run going between us and the fans and everyone around the place, this place can go on to bigger and better things. I know for a fact it can, and it's just a matter of time that happens, and hopefully that's starting from Saturday.
Well, Dan, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on. Thanks very much. It's been great crack, and it's been brilliant listening about your career. I know it's not easy coming to Northern Ireland and settling in here, but you've definitely settled in well, and it's great to hear that.
It's thanks to people like you and obviously the staff, the fans and everyone like that. They've welcomed me with open arms, so I can only say thank you to them, and hopefully we can bring something back for you and the fans, and come May, and like I said, we'll try our best every Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, whatever it'll be, and we'll give our all, and I'll certainly give my all, and we'll just go from there.
Well, there we go. It's another episode over of the Shout at the Will podcast. Thanks again to my guest, Danny Amos, and we'll be back again soon with another great guest. Thank you.